when you see
Exactly.
college football, you see the evolution. You see it's changing.
Hmm.
We were going this year 12-team playoff, which has been an absolute like mess in my opinion. We'll get into my opinion in a little bit, but what is your opinion on the college football playoff? Because I have a lot to say. I just want to hear what you have to say first.
So my personal opinion, I think it's extremely interesting. Now I don't know how safe it will be on like players' bodies. Is I think it might be a little bit more games, so it could increase the amount of injury for certain teams. But I do like the opportunity it gives for teams like Boise State, or just teams like in smaller conferences to get the opportunity to prove themselves because most of the teams might be ranked 12 or 11 or 10, so they might not ever see the playoffs if it would have stayed how it was. So I just like the new opportunity teams get to prove themselves in the college football players because as you know, like anything can happen, like
Right.
really anything can happen. So I really liked it a lot. I'm just gonna see how it goes this year, just like you.
I mean, I like it, but there's problems with it because the one issue to me is like you see this Florida State flag behind me. Okay,
Mm,
I'm gonna bring them up because they're going the four best teams when they've had the four team college football playoff. Four best teams get in this year. That's 12 best teams. That's not the case. And the
yeah,
standings are weird too. Like with the conference buys, like right now, SMU is the best. They have the best ACC record, but Miami's ahead of them because of the highest ranked ACC team. But it should be who has the
exactly.
best conference record, not who's the best
Mm,
like team per se, like the ranked team or whatever. And then all the buys. I mean, I get it. It helps like get an automatic bid, kind of like March Madness. But when you've got Boise State, who's like ranked 12, and then getting a fourth seed buy over like teams like Alabama, Georgia, like all these SEC teams who are beating each other up. And a lot of these SEC teams had two losses because there's all the good teams
exactly.
in the college football are playing against each other. So it's kind of hard to like really make a judgment. And then you've got number one Oregon, which
Hmm.
I haven't really been too impressed with them. I mean, they're 11-0, but like they're just barely winning some of these games that they should be absolutely dominating. I mean, last week
Exactly.
and they barely beat Wisconsin. So I think there's a lot of
Hmm.
problems. I think it should be the 12 best. And I'm sure there's a
Most
mid-major that
definitely.
can get in there now, but they have to fix it a little bit, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. But like you said, it's just kind of hard to find a fine line. Like you said, Boise State has been so impressive, but when you compare them to some of those SEC schools, it's like, yeah, they'd be undefeated too if they was, or they at least have one loss if they was in Boise State's conference. So it is kind of hard to rank those teams when they all playing each other and they're all so talented.
Yeah.
So
That
I
that's
don't know if
the
there's any real reason to correct it.
I mean it's hard because like I want to see those underdog teams in there. Like I like
Mm-hmm.
the UCFs of the past, like them going undefeated, not getting an opportunity. I mean, I feel like all these teams do get an opportunity, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
at a certain point, I feel like everything that the committee has said in the past about the playoff, like the four best teams, feels like it's kind of contradicting itself this year a little bit.
Exactly. That's how I feel about like it is kind of contradicting, and like you said, you seen what happened with Florida State last year, so it's just I feel like this year is going to be a learning experience for all of NCAA football, and I really, as long as it's still entertaining though, like
Oh, it's going to be entertaining.
it's yeah,
I mean, it
it's
will
going to
be.
be
It's going to
super
be interesting
entertaining.
picking these. But the
Mm-hmm.
problem is like if you're
It's going to be
and
real.
then like a team like Indiana who's had a great season, but I mean they've had the 106th like ranked schedule, strength of schedule. They haven't played anybody and they're ranked 5th. Like that was the
No, they
knock on
haven't.
Florida
Yeah,
State last year. They
but you
didn't
can't
play
take it
anybody.
away though.
I mean, you
Exactly.
can't, but can you?
Yeah, that's true too.
But
Like
this
I
week
guess
they are going to
we're gonna
prove
see
it.
this week.
This
Exactly. So,
week.
but even if they lose, what do you think gonna happen? Because you can't bump them out of the top 10.
The only way I think they get bumped out is if it's not competitive. If Ohio State just blows them out by like
Yeah,
30. If it's not a close game. But if IU loses by
yeah,
like 3 or like 7, I mean, I could definitely, they're going to get in. I mean, right now they have a 97% chance to get in.
Talk to me, baby. Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me nice. I'm from another world, baby, yeah. Broadway paradise. They think I'm way too cold, cause I put my